So let us quickly review what we have done in our last class. So foundation series. And then we have discussed about user add, okay, add user, group add, and then I have asked you to work on delete users, which is user del and group del commands, right? So let us go with this user stuff a little bit, because there is one topic which I have to speak about still. And then what I'll be doing is I'll be trying to go to our next topic, okay, right? So whenever we create users, whenever we add users, right, so there is certain kind of stuff which we need to basically worry about, okay? So the whole point over here is, whenever you are trying to create users, you have to manage users by logging in into a Linux machine and then basically doing the stuff on your own, okay, right? So what are the other things which we need to worry about, okay? So what will I do if I have many users to manage, many systems to manage? That is one thing which we need to basically worry about, okay? So let us basically try to understand what it is all about, okay? Good. So first I'll start with one interesting feature, uh, Linux 12, right? So the stuff which I want to speak about right now is sticky bit, okay? So sticky bit is a special permission that can be used to prevent, okay, users from deleting other users files and directories. Do you think this is important? Okay, so whenever you create in Linux, many people will try to basically do the stuff, and how can I prevent other users from deleting my directories? Okay, now the whole point of this is, okay, there is still an exception, okay? Root user can still delete it, okay? Root user is like a super user, okay, can of course delete this, okay, but not other users, okay? So for this experiment, let me quickly create a machine. Okay, so I'll be creating one Ubuntu instance, okay, and one Red Hat instance, as usual, the same stuff what we do every day. So one Red Hat, okay. I'm not worried about security. I'll be opening all the ports at this moment. Okay, in the same way, let me create one more machine, which is Ubuntu, because these are two widely used operating system distributions. Ubuntu, right? And I'm quite sure we all know how to create users. Yes or no, sir? Yeah, good. So what I would do is, for this reference, let me log in into the Red Hat machine. Okay, and I'll be using PowerShell for Red Hat. Same story, right? Let us, throughout this Linux sessions, let us use this as a pattern. Okay, whenever I'm connecting to Linux machine from a PowerShell, that is a Red Hat. Yeah, right. Red Hat machines take longer time for SSH to be up. Okay, so let it take some more time. In the meantime, I'll open Git Bash. All right, so I'll connect this. Okay. Yeah, my bad. I had to be in a different folder. Downloads. Right. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll try to create a directory. Okay. First, I'll try to create a user. Okay. So sudo add user or user add. User add. Okay. And let me call it as Iron Man. What should I use? Okay. Should I use user add or add user? Okay. In the case of Ubuntu, it is better that you use add user. Okay. Right. Now, similarly, I'll be creating one more user. Add user Thor. So I have two users. Now let me switch to the user called as Iron Man. Okay. So now my Iron Man user is going to create a directory. Okay. Is going to create a directory. So what I'll be trying to do is mkdir. Okay. In the temporary folder, everyone has an access to it. Okay. This folder is for images. Okay. Now if you basically do ls minus l slash tmp, are you seeing this right? Yeah. Yes, sir. Now I don't want this folder to be deleted. Okay. Or this file to be deleted by anyone else. Okay. So just for the namesake, in this folder, I'll be creating one file, touch slash tmp for images, image1, and that is an empty file. Okay. Now what I'll do is I will try to tell chmod plus t. Okay. Slash tmp for images. Okay. Similarly, I'll be creating one more directory, make dir slash tmp slash videos. Sorry. Okay. Now, if you do slash tmp, now are you seeing two folders? One is for images, The other one is videos. Okay. And is there anything special added over here? T. So what is this T? This T says it is a sticky bit. Now, okay, let me take a screenshot so far. Okay, so let me save this. I'm not going to write the command. You just basically go through images and then look into the command. All right. Oh. Right. So adding sticky bit is to use plus T in chmod. Okay. So preview dot slash images slash linux 100.png. Now what I would try to do is I will try to let me log in as a different user now. Okay, su-l Thor. Okay. Now as a Thor user, right? What I can do is, okay, I can basically let me give it a try. Thor is not a right user. Let me become Ubuntu. Okay, if you remember, Ubuntu has sudo permissions. Okay, I'll become Ubuntu user. Now, as this Ubuntu user, now what I can let me try rm minus rf, which is remove the files, which is tmp, and in tmp for images. Okay, let me try with sudo. Okay, now what is happening? Are you seeing for images? Okay, so if the user has sudo permissions, it will be deleted. If the user doesn't have a sudo permissions, you will get the permission denied message. Am I clear on this? Did we understood this concept? And what is this called as? This is called as sticky bit. This is called as sticky bit. Sir, in Linux, there is no default password concept, sir. Okay. So can we protect our folders from other users from being deleted? The answer is yes, as long as that user doesn't have special powers or superpowers. Will you agree with my statement? Yes, sir. So what is that we need to do? If we add chmod plus T to files or directories, other users cannot delete it. Okay, but if the other user is sudoer is part of sudo group or super user, they can delete. Am I clear on this, sir? Okay. Okay. Yes. Now, yes, Rajesh, you are right. But we will discuss about it at some other time. We should not give all the surprises at one day, right? No. Root or user, you cannot restrict any access in Linux. Ideally, I should be starting a topic called as pluggable authentication modules, but it is too much of authentication, man. We have been speaking about authentication from a long time. So for a change, let us discuss something else. Let me discuss about an interesting file, okay, which is vi sudo. All right. To be very specific, this is not a file. This is a command. Okay, and this command will help us a lot in doing some of the aspects. Let us try to find out what this vi sudo is. Okay, so vi sudo is a command that helps in editing sudoers file. Okay, so if you want to give access to the sudo file, okay, if you are basically editing your permissions, okay, to the sudoers, we need to basically understand the sudoers files. All right, so now let me get into this Red Hat machine as well as Ubuntu instance. Okay, so sudo -i cat /etc slash sudoers. So are you seeing this file? You can directly modify this file, but vi sudo is a command that help you in modifying this file. Okay, because you should not be editing sudoers directly by opening it in a text editor. Okay, so since it's not a good idea to change etc sudoers file directly, okay, vi sudo command can help in editing, can help in editing sudoers file. Okay, right. Now what is this etc sudoers file? Okay, vi sudo edits, sorry, edits the sudoers file, okay, which defines, what is that it defines? The users and groups, okay, with administrative rights. So who will have administrative rights on the system is something which we will define in vi or what do you call sudoers file. Okay, right. Now there is one more interesting utility. So there is something called as sudo vi pw. Oh, right. Sorry. Then it is asking what is the editor which you want. I want nano editor. Let us assume I select this. Okay. So to edit the etc password file, ideally we should be using this vipw, but no one does that. That's a different story. But in the same way, for editing this file, we have vi sudo. Now, what is that stuff which we need to understand over here? Okay. So whenever we are modifying the sudoers file, okay, you will be seeing the following information. So let me type vi sudo. For executing this command, you should be a sudo user already. Okay, I'll do the same thing on a Red Hat instance. Oh, since I am a root user, I can directly type it. Okay, so let me go over here and let me execute this. Okay, okay, right. Save this. Let me save this. Okay, so now execute the command vi sudo. Okay, from root user. Right, and in here you can basically see the permissions. I'll show you some of the permissions. Okay, so it is trying to tell you what is the secure path, what is the alias, right, what are the privilege specifications and all of that stuff. Okay, so if you are seeing, are you seeing this? Okay, so in this file, okay, right, states that the user root, okay, may run, okay, as any user or group or any command. So basically, if you want to understand the syntax of this command, okay, syntax of this directive is, okay, so user, okay, and then host name equals to run as hyphen user colon run as hyphen group and then command. So for the user root, what is that we are trying to tell? User is root. Okay. Host name. Let it be any host name. Let this user log in from any host name. Okay. Run as any user. Run as any group. Let it be any command. Give him all the accesses. Am I clear on this, sir? Does this make sense? Okay. Right. Now, if the user in the directive begins with percentage, okay, it is group. Let us open Red Hat and see what is present over here. Okay. In Red Hat, there is a lot of other information, but let us just focus on what is interesting for us. Okay. Any line which starts with hash is comment. Okay. So it will be ignored. It will be ignored. Okay. So whenever you are trying to tell percentage admin, then you are not trying to tell the user. You are trying to tell the group name. Then you are trying to tell what? Group name. Okay. So now basically, okay, if the user doesn't have sudo rights, okay, you can add that user to the sudo group, or you can add that user in vi sudo directly. Okay, that is an option which you would have. That is an option which you would have. Okay, right. And now for sudo users, when we execute sudo command, okay, password is expected. Okay, password or key is expected. Okay, to ignore this, to ensure, okay, Linux doesn't ask passwords. Ask passwords when we use sudo command. Okay, you have to make a small correction. Okay, so over here, are you seeing this? I'll basically say no PASSWD colon all. Okay, if it is wheel, then if I give this no PASSWD colon all, that what I'm trying to tell is, for any command, don't ask the password. For any command, don't ask the password. Am I clear on this, sir? Okay. So shall we try this? Okay. I'll be trying this on Ubuntu, not on a Red Hat instance, because I have two users over there already, and I don't want to create the new users now at this moment. Okay. Oh, caps lock is. Right. Now, if you remember, in my Git bash, I have two users. Okay. Right. Now, what I can basically try to tell is sudo user mod, okay, hyphen ag, okay, What is a group? Group is pseudo group, and to this I am adding Iron Man. Okay. Now if I switch myself as Iron Man, okay, whenever I execute sudo command, sudo apt-get update, it will ask me for a password. Okay. So are you saying it is asking me for a password? Okay. So if I don't want this behavior, I can do one more thing. Okay. Let me exit, go back to Ubuntu user, and let me execute sudo vi sudo. This time, okay, what I'll do is I'll go over here, and for the sudo users, what I'll try to tell is it is not all, it is no passwd, sorry, wd colon all. Now let me switch myself as Iron Man. Okay. Okay. Now let me execute sudo apt-get install tree. Don't worry about what that command is. It is a sudo command. Is it asking for password? No, right? It is not asking this for a password. Okay. That's basically what it is. That's basically what it is, right? So come on, man, finish it. There is only one topic left in this whole stuff. Okay, right. So let me quickly add a user over here. Add user Thor. Okay. Now I can basically make the Thor user to the sudoers group by saying user mod -ag. Okay. In Red Hat, the group's name is wheel. Okay. And add the user called as Thor. Okay. There is other way of doing it also. I'll go to the vi sudo. Okay. I'll scroll down. Okay. And rather than directly adding the user, rather than directly adding the user to the group, I'll add the username. Okay. What is my username? Thor. And I'm trying to tell all equals to all. All equals to all. And then I would try to tell no passwd colon all. Now let me switch myself as a Thor. And now let me execute any sudo command. Sudo yum install tree -y. So if you see, it is not asking me any password. So to make the users as a sudoers group, you have two chances. Adding to the sudo group is a best way of doing it, but you can directly add your entries into the vi sudo file also. Am I clear on this, sir? Space, you have to just give one space or two spaces, it is considered as one. Just for our readability, you can give as many as you want. Okay. Right. Aditya Reddy, is this so these changes are dynamic? Yeah. So you can add these changes whenever you want. Aditya Reddy, is this your first class by any chance? If it is so, please go through my older classes. I have asked you to learn OpenVim. I have asked you to go to OpenVim and try to learn VIM tutorial. Yes or no? If you have done that, generally when we edit vi sudo, it will open in the vi editor in the case of Red Hat and nano editor in the case of Ubuntu. Okay. Now how to save it and execute it is, how do you save it in nano or vi editor? Am I clear on this, sir? Yeah, good. Now do we understand vi sudo now? All colon all is not given in Red Hat. Yeah, they are following a different, for them it's okay. They might be following a different, slightly different format. Okay, that's the reason we have entries, right? Okay. Yeah, there is no need, see, and to my knowledge, all these days, whatever we have learned, we are not remembering any commands, right? Is my assumption right, sir? No one is trying to remember the commands, right? Yeah, thank you. As long as you are doing that, I'm safe. Okay, because there is no way that you are going to remember all of this. If you even make that attempt, you will not be successful in this. Okay, now softwares in Linux. Softwares in Linux. So, or installing softwares in Linux. Let me put it in this way. Or managing softwares in Linux. You can call anything. Okay, right. So generally, most of our time will end up in installing softwares, right? Okay. Yes, because you might need a Ubuntu system. In Ubuntu system, someone might tell you, okay, I want a Tomcat server, I want an Nginx server, I want an Elastic Stack, whatever it is. So, right. So a good chunk of our time as sysadmin, okay, or even DevOps engineer will be spent in managing the various softwares. Do you agree with me? Okay. So, do we need to understand what this whole stuff is all about? Yeah. So, when we install any stuff on the Linux, we would be running them. Yes or no? Right. So, let me try to write our basic intention. When we install any software, we would be running them. Okay. So, in this running or executing, okay, there are two kinds of softwares. Okay. The first one is a software which executes only when the user executes the command. Okay. And softwares which run all the time in the background. Okay. For example, if you are installing Apache server, do you want Apache server to run only when you type commands, or do you want Apache, your web server, to be running all the time? Database server to be running all the time? Yes. Okay. In Linux, any program that runs in the background is called as daemon. What is it called as? Daemon. Okay. How do we manage daemons? I'll be speaking about it in a different section, but installing softwares is what I'm interested in at this moment. Okay. So there are some softwares which we execute all the time, and there are some softwares which whenever we type commands, we expect them to be working. So now let me start with what are the approaches of installing softwares, right? Approaches of installing software in Linux. The first approach, okay, is from source code. Okay. So copy the source code in Linux. Okay. Compile the source code. Okay. And then copy the executables into the folders of your choice. Okay. Add them to add folders. Add folders to path variables. Okay. If required. Did we understood this stuff? Right? The first approach of installing the software in Linux is try to take the source code and then compile the source code. And generally, this is where we will be using make tools. Okay. So if you want an example, okay, I'll give you one example, which I have basically, which is present in directdevops.blog. DevOps blog. Look at this Nagios installation. Okay. Look into Nagios installation. Okay. So see the installation. What is that I'm trying to do? Okay. Are you saying I'm downloading the code, tar file? I am untarring the file, right? Extracting the file, and then I am executing make all command. Are you saying make? Make is a Linux command, and then I'm basically trying to run all of this by executing make commands. Okay. Are we clear on this? Okay. So I'm installing softwares by using what? Make commands. Okay. If you want to understand what a make is a compiler. Okay. Make is a C compiler. Okay. Or make is not a C compiler. Make calls the C compiler. Make calls the C compiler. Okay. Make is a build management tool. But do you think this approach is good? Whenever you want to install any software, copy the source code, start understanding how developer builds the code, and go through the documentation of it, and then install the softwares. Is this okay approach? Okay. It will definitely work, but the problem is it is difficult. So the world has gone to the second approach. Okay. So what they have said, try to do is, okay, rather than, I will not give you source code, okay, but from executables. Okay. So software executables will be shared to you, as tar or zip files. Untar the files. Okay. Copy them to the folders of your choice. Okay. And execute applications. Okay. If required, you might need to add to the path variable. Okay. So if you want to remember this, this is something which we have done in Terraform installation. When we were learning environmental variable, remember we have installed Terraform and Packer. Yes, sir. Okay. So now, do you think this approach is okay? This is okay, better than source code, but installing softwares can be much simpler, right? Installing softwares can be much simpler, right? So the third approach, okay, which will be starting our discussion from tomorrow, is package managers. Am I clear on this? So this will be discussed in next class. So from taking the code and building the code is difficult. Copying the executables is little bit simpler. And then we will discuss about package managers. So what it should be, it should be much simpler, right? It should be much simpler, right? Yeah. So any approach, after one approach, if you are seeing other approach, the reason why I speak about all of them is because you need to know all of them. You might ask there, sir, we are using sudo apt-get. Why don't we start with sudo apt-get? But sudo apt-get will look convenient when you understand these things. When you understand these things. Am I clear on this, sir? Okay. So we will be understanding a Red Hat package manager. We will be understanding a Debian package manager. Then we will look at yum, DNF, and aptitude in Ubuntu. So that is exactly what our next class is. Right? So sounds interesting. Whenever you want to install a software, you really don't need to know any commands. If you have a source code also, that is enough. Okay. If you have ever basically, if you basically see this person has written the Linux kernel. Okay. Look out for his videos on YouTube. Okay. Especially this video, if you look into it, he tries to tell that he doesn't like yum, apt-get, and all of that stuff, because this person believes in compiling the code and using the software. Yeah, because he is the creator of it and he likes looking at a deeper level. But for you and me, we are not Linux Torvalds. So for us, it would be easy to make our life simple by using package managers. So that is our agenda for discussion in our tomorrow's class, where we will try to understand what package managers are. RPM, deb, yum, and apt. Okay. And then I'll also discuss about one thing interesting that is coming, which is called as snap. Okay. So that will be our next few classes. Okay, sir. So now do we understand sticky bit? Do we understand vi sudo? Right? And do we know now two approaches of installing softwares in Linux? Right? Good, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, subscribe our channel and click on bell icon.